Hey, what's up, everybody? Coming to you today with the Champions Report. This one is on the WBO world title, the World Boxing Organization Championship. I'm going to go over the belt from 122 pounds all the way to heavyweight real quick and just give you updates on the champions or the title itself and what's going on. And, that's it. I'm going to be doing this probably every couple months. And I hope you guys pay attention because you should know the champions around the division, or around boxing, I should say, in each division, and get some updates on them because they're significant fighters. Some of them are on the rise, not in the top 10, and they might not be guys you know very well, but they are considered legitimate world champions. So I'm going to jump into it right now. Again, guys, if you like my page, give me a thumbs up. If you don't like my video, thumbs down. I'm open to any criticism. Leave me a message, positive or negative. Send me leave a comment, anything. Subscribe to the channel if you really like it because I got a lot of content that I push out on here. I'm very passionate about the sport. So that's it. All right, so let's jump into all the WBO champions and the title belts from 122 pounds to heavyweight. We start with the 122-pound super bantamweight world title, which is currently held by undefeated Stephen Fulton Jr., who just captured the world title in January when he dominated Angelo Leo, who was undefeated, over 12 rounds. It was a fight that was supposed to happen back in August. Fulton tested positive for COVID just days before the fight. Leo went on to fight Tremaine Williams and won the vacant belt, but he had to fight Stephen Fulton in a mandatory defense. He fought him, and Stephen Fulton whipped his ass. It was a good fight. Some competitive rounds, but Fulton was just too much. Cleanly outboxed him, outclassed him, got a clean decision, and captured his first world title. So Stephen Fulton's with the PBC. This is a PBC run division. A lot of options there. Haven't heard anything concrete. We know former unified champ Daniel Roman is already calling him out. I don't think Luis Nery or Brandon Figueroa are afraid of the fight. So I'm going to wait and see what happens. I hope Fulton gets somebody decent, though. I think he might end up being an avoided fighter because he is very good, but I hope not. He's good. He's got the talent. He's willing to bang with his opponents, and I want to see what he does next. Nothing concrete on what he's doing yet, though. He just come off the biggest win of his career in January, so we'll see. Next up is the 126-pound featherweight championship, and that is currently held by Emmanuel Navarrete from Mexico, the reigning 2 division champion. Navarrete captured the belt in October with what ended up being a harder than expected 12-round decision over Salinas' Ruben Villa, who was undefeated. But nonetheless, he captured the belt, and now he's already announced his next fight in March. I believe it's March or April. I'm drawing a blank right now. He's going to be defending his title against Christopher Diaz, the former world title challenger. It's a good matchup for Navarrete right here, especially in between trying to get a bigger name opponent. Because Top Rank does have a couple dogs at 126, but he's already dominated one of them twice in Isaac Dogbe. Jesse Magdaleno is another one, but Magdaleno backed out of the fight with Navarrete back in October. He was supposed to fight. He said they weren't offering him enough money, and he backed out. And then you got Joet Gonzalez, who is a risk. He's a very good boxer. So I think Christopher Diaz is a perfect opponent for Navarrete right now for his next fight. I think it's going to be a good one. I think it's going to be action, but I would pick Navarrete to win this fight. If that fight takes place before the next Champions Report, I'm calling right now Emmanuel Navarrete to win, but we'll see. It should be a really good action fight, and Diaz is a good opponent. 130, super featherweight division. The champion is Jamel Herring from the United States. Well, we got Herring in Frampton. Was supposed to happen again at the end of this month, and now has been postponed again. These guys, they're saying the next day, Frampton got a hand injury in this one. So they're saying it's possible the end of March 27th is what they're looking at right now. We don't know for sure, but that's supposed to be who Herring fights next. If that fight for some reason gets scratched, Herring's going to have to make a mandatory defense against the undefeated Shakur Stevenson, the former champ from featherweight. So either way, he's going to have a good, solid opponent next, but I do think it's going to be Frampton. I'm hoping it's the end of March. That's what's going on with that title. 135 is the lightweight championship, and the champion there is the undisputed champion, Teofimo Lopez. Looks like the fight with George Kambosos is moving forward for May, possibly June. Kambosos is his undefeated mandatory for the IBF belt, but he would get a crack at all 4 belts in this one. But we don't know for sure. Lopez just came out the other day and said he loves Top Rank, but if they can't work it out, then he's going to move on to somebody else. I don't know how real that was, but that's what he's saying. Now, it looks like Kambosos is going to be locked in, likely in New York or somewhere else. That's where Lopez is from, because Australia seems to be out. But that's what looks like to be the case next. But we don't know for sure. But I hope it is. I hope he gets in there. Shakes up. He said he wanted to fight 3 times this year. I'd like to see him get that in. I don't know if that's still possible, but we'll see. But I'd like to see him fight a couple times this year. And I really hope the rematch with Lomachenko is on the table towards the end of the year. But we'll see. 140 champion is the undefeated unified champ, Jose Ramirez, who holds both the WBO and the WBC titles. Now, right now, he has a working date of May 22nd for the undisputed title clash with undefeated IBF WBA unified champ, Josh Taylor. All 4 belts will be on the line in this fight. It's right now penciled in for the 22nd. That's looking solid, but it hasn't been 100% finalized. But I can't wait for that fight. I'll definitely have a Champions Report before then, and hopefully we will have a finalized date by that Champions Report. We should. Him and Josh Taylor, undisputed championship. I believe only the 6th man in history of the four belt era to pull that off. That's exciting. Can't wait. 147, our champion is the undefeated Terrence Bud Crawford. Don't know yet. We don't know. Haven't heard nothing on what he's doing next. I hope we hear something soon. There's talk that he doesn't want to fight Sean Porter. I don't know why, but it'd be a good prelude to him ending his contract with Top Rank and moving on to the PBC possibly later in the year. I think he should do it if the fight can be made. He should go for it. We'll see. We'll see if Bob Arum's interested. I think somebody like that, Custio Clayton, could be next for him, because I don't think any of the other guys who are rated high in the WBO are going to want him, but we'll see. I hope we hear some kind of news on Crawford before the next Champions Report. 154. The new champion is the undefeated Brian Castano. This is super welterweight. He just beat Patrick Teixeira and beat him up over 12 rounds. Teixeira fought hard, but Castano was a man on a mission. Mandatory fight. Got the win, got him out of there. We don't know what's next. He's calling out Jermell Charlo. That could be possible, but Charlo has to clear up or get approval from the WBC to get that fight. We don't know if that's going to happen. I think Erislandy Lara could be an option also. I'm hoping we hear some more clear news on Castano before the next Champions Report. 160, middleweight. The champion there is the undefeated Demetrius Andrade. They're moving forward with a mandatory title fight against Liam Williams from England. I don't know when that fight's going to take place. If it for some reason takes place before the next Champions Report, I think Andrade is going to win that fight going away. Late stoppage decision and retain his world title, but we don't know as of yet when that fight is going to be for sure. But that looks to be what he's doing next. 168, it's all but signed, and it should be signed by the next Champions Report. Undefeated champion at 168 is Billy Joe Saunders. We know he is going to be facing off, most likely, against and attempting to unify belts against unified champion Canelo Alvarez, who holds the WBC and WBA Super Championships. That's a huge fight right there, as Canelo's trying to move towards undisputed. That would be the biggest fight of Billy Joe's career. Canelo's got to get through Avni Yildirim on February 27th. He shouldn't have a problem doing that. And then it almost is for sure he's fighting Billy Joe Saunders in May on May 8th. So it looks to be that's what Billy Joe's doing next. Again, that fight should be finalized by the next Champions Report, as long as Canelo doesn't get injured or lose to Yildirim on February 27th. Okay, then we got the next fight, or the next fighter, 175. The championship at light heavyweight is still currently vacant. It was supposed to be decided last weekend between Joe Smith Jr. and Maxim Vlasov. Vlasov tested positive for COVID. The fight's been postponed. I'm hopeful that by the next Champions Report, which should be early April, that we're going to know or that fight's going to be done with between Joe Smith Jr. and Maxim Vlasov. I think it's a good matchup for the vacant title. Don't count Vlasov out. He's got a very real chance of pulling off the win here. I think Joe Smith's going to beat him. I think he beats him by a decision, a hard-fought decision, and becomes the new world champion. But it could go either way. At the very least, by the next champions report, I hope we have confirmation of this fight going off, of a new date going off, and we should. 200 cruiserweight. By the next champions report, we're going to have a new champion. We know I believe it's March 20th, Krzysztof Glowacki, the former two-time champion, finally will face undefeated Lawrence Okolie in a mandatory title fight for the vacant world title. We're going to see. I'm leaning more towards Okolie in this one, that he's going to be the new champion, but I don't want to count out Glowacki because he's been such a rugged, good fighter for years in this division, former two-time champ. But by the time this fight pops off, we're looking at 21-month layoff for Glowacki, and even his last fight ended in 3 rounds with all the controversy that happened. So it's been a long time since Glowacki's been in a big fight. Okolie has been, hasn't fought anybody on Glowacki's level, but he's big, he's long, he looks like he's got some talent. We're going to see what happens. I'm looking forward to that one. I'm going, right now, I might pick Okolie to pull off the upset, but I'm still on the fence about it. But that fight takes place March 20th on DAZN. We're going to have a new cruiserweight champ. Gun to my head, I'm calling Okolie with the upset for right now. But that's just me. And now heavyweight. The heavyweight championship held by Anthony Joshua. He's a unified champ. He holds the IBF and the WBA super championships there as well. It's looking like him and Tyson Fury are going to go at it for the undisputed title by late May, possibly June. I'm leaning more towards June. Eddie Hearn has come out and said that the fight is close. They're going back and forth over little things, nothing to worry about. That was his recent comment on the fight, and that this fight should go forward. He said he's hoping by, I believe it was this week or early next week, he wants to have a contract signed by both fighters, and they're just talking about the location after that. But I don't know. I'm praying and hoping. I'm keeping my fingers crossed. I hope these guys work out this deal and get at least the first fight done. But we'll see. We'll see what happens. So that's it. I hope you guys enjoyed this. That's the WBO Champions Report. And I'll talk to you guys next time. True Boxing, you've been hit with the truth.